Is what is your opinion about like the whole new thing, the feminist and punk movement now? Because I know you've been to Orange County. We did a few benefit show with you and stuff.
Well, I think in essence, these movements like the early women's movement during the 60s and the movements of the Brown Beret, for example, the movement of the Puerto Ricans out of New York, the movement of the Native American people. These were movements that basically mirrored, to a certain extent, the revolutionary organizing that was taking place within the black community. Many of them looked to the Black Panther Party as a model, so to speak, for engaging those issues that were really relevant to our community and relevant to most poor communities. So I think they saw that parallel in the organizing, and many of them adopted tactics and strategies that were in part developed by the Black Panther Party.
I also read about Eldridge long time ago. Eldridge Cleaver visiting North Korea. Elaine Brown went to Red China. Have you been to any other countries?
The only other country that I have been to, other countries, I guess you say, is Mexico. I've been to Canada for a couple of days, and I've been to Cuba. I've also been to Barbados and Grenada in the Caribbean. So I have traveled a little bit outside.
Isn't there a sister who's in exile in Cuba who's a member of Panther?
Yes, Asada Shakur is still in exile in Cuba and probably be there until we achieve some level of political influence in this government, or not this government, but a government in this country.
What is the actions that people could take to actually fight racism?
I think at bottom, racism is an economic question. It has to do with the distribution and allocation of resources, and that when those resources have been distributed in a more or less equal fashion, based upon need, then racism will evaporate because there will be no economic foundation for its existence. We in the Panther movement have always believed that racism is not something that people are born into the world with, that people become racist after a certain amount of orientation and education into being a racist by living in a society and a culture that perpetrates racist ideology. And we think for the main purpose of ensuring that the status quo remains the status quo, the people who have remains the people who have, and the overwhelming majority of the people have no access to resources and capital and technology and those kind of things. When we address those kind of issues, then ultimately